Good evening, everybody. Welcome home. No, not DVC. Home here, where I'm at. Thank you all for your comments on that whole DVC thing and the other videos. I really appreciate it. I'm going to read two at the end of this because I want to start, doing that again. We're starting to get more people commenting on things, and I thought, well, what I can do is take a few comments and we'll throw them in at the end because some of the things I've really taken to heart, what people have suggested, and one of the things is getting, right to the videos, which is good. It's a good point. So I got to remember that, not to ramble on too much. So we'll do that at the very end. And so without wasting any more time, let's get our ass in gear and let's talk about tonight's topic. Oh, yeah, and I was supposed to be at the theme parks tonight, but long work day. It's already well after 9 o'clock. I just got home a little while ago, and the parks are closed at 9, so that didn't do any good. So we'll have to try it tomorrow. So let's get started. What I want to talk about tonight, it's not going to be too terribly long of a topic, but something very important. I was actually thinking about it on the way home when I knew I wasn't going to make the theme parks, and I was trying to audible something and be like, okay, what can we chat about real quick? And it dawned on me this whole shipping deal that's going on, the all of the ports that are closed because the dock workers are striking. And one of the big things that impacts is prescription medications. And so I did a little searching and I wanted to figure out how many or what percentage would be affected by this. And the rough answer I got is somewhere around 90 to 92% of all prescription meds could be affected by this. Now, pharmacies they do keep stockpiles for this kind of thing, God forbid, but like anything with the amount of meds that we consume in this country, it's not going to take long for those to run low. And when people start running low on meds, that can be bad, especially if they're, for certain conditions that basically help you live life. Or, also we have to think about people that are on various prescription plans, like maybe they're on a pain management program or they're, on a benzo for whatever reason. We're going to talk about it another time, but long-term benzo use is, man, that's super dangerous. People start bitching about people that take opioids long-term. Benzos are far worse. But anyway, that's neither here nor there tonight. But anybody that's on a medication, for whatever reason, could very much be affected by this. And so the whole point of this is, I know we have a lot of friends that come visit us here in Orlando from all over the country and all over the world. My best suggestion to you all, okay, and this is from living here and also working in a busy emergency room and seeing things that go on, and basically about 90% of the people that we deal with are on vacation. Right now, you do not want to be traveling and be short on your medication, whatever it is you may take, okay? You basically, because you don't want to say, oh, well, I'll just call my doctor and refill it when I'm in Orlando, if that would be the case. If somebody, let's say they're the typical prescription regimen they're on, they need a refill right in the middle of vacation. Not the best thing to do for the next couple months. If you're going to be, I would say between now and late November, I have no idea how long this thing is going to go on. If it goes on a week, if we can get this thing solved in a week, it might only affect things for a little bit. If this thing goes on for longer than a week and we start talking a couple weeks to a month, it's going to take months to get things back on track. So my best suggestion is, if you have a vacation planned to Orlando, I can't speak for the rest of the country, but at least I know how things work here. What I would do if I were you, I would speak with your doctor at home and make sure that you have enough medication to cover you while you're on vacation. and maybe even have a little more, because the other thing we have to think about now is anybody that's going to be traveling to see us in the next couple days and is going to be staying, let's say, the next few days, or that is here right now is going to be staying through the weekend or maybe early next week, or is going to be traveling in the next few days and staying in for a week or so. We have some potential, I say potential, but it's a high likelihood that we're going to have some really bad tropical weather again coming either near or potentially right over Orlando. There's a system in the Gulf that is supposed to merge with another system, which could be really bad if it does. And we're already stressing out resources right now. If that happens, it's going to get even worse, depending on if it even happens. But knowing how things usually play out around here, we're definitely going to get a lot of rain over the next several days, starting probably this weekend. So now you've got potential bad weather again. You've got a port strike going on, of which 90+% of our medications come through these ports. And then these pharmacies are going to start running low, especially here. This is a main vacation hub, and these pharmacies, I've seen it many times already before, even when there's nothing going on. We get notices constantly about how they're short on certain medications. We're short on this medication. We don't have blood pressure meds. We don't have antibiotics. We don't have this. We don't have that. We don't have pain medication. I've seen it all across the board when you get these messages. And then, people come down here and they need something. They come to the emergency room for whatever reason, and you try to send a script to the pharmacy, or you give them a paper script, and they're like, they don't have it. And now we're scrambling and trying to call around, because you can't call a pharmacy anymore and say, hey, do you have this medication? It doesn't work. Even if you say, hey, I work at the ED, or you have the doctors do it, because they don't know who they're talking to anymore. And sadly enough, with all the pharmacies that got robbed back about 12, 15 years ago because of all that mess that went on, everything is very different here in Florida. The other people that I need to address in this are people that travel from abroad, overseas, and people that travel in our country, in the United States. People that are on a controlled medication plan by your doctor. And when I say a control, I mean something like Schedule 2, Schedule 3, which could be a benzodiazepine for anxiety, could be for ADHD with Adderall, could be a pain management program, could be anything. I'm telling you all, if you are on a typical schedule type medication, you need to get that dealt with in your hometown where you are from. Don't come to Florida and expect to get that refilled, or, your doctor. I've seen it where doctors used to send patients with scripts, valid scripts. Hey, I know you're going to be on vacation for a week or 2 weeks. I know you're on this medication. Here's a prescription. Have it filled when you're down there. Shouldn't be a problem. Used to not be. Okay? Now, we've got a lot of new pharmacists in the area, mostly with CVS and Walgreens, and they're just outright refusing to fill these people's prescriptions. Because how do I know this? Because they show up in the emergency room wondering what the heck they need to do, because they have a valid script, but nobody wants to fill it because the pharmacist told them it's illegal in the state of Florida to fill an out-of-state prescription for a controlled medication, which I'm here to tell you there is no such rule. You can look it up. Go into Google and type in Florida rule against filling an out-of-state prescription, and it will give you the statute number, the law number, and everything else. It says there is no law against filling an out-of-state prescription as long as it's valid. But we have a bunch of new pharmacists with the CVS's and Walgreens in the theme park district here that are, I don't know what their deal is, whether they have a personal vendetta against this stuff or whatever it is. My thing is, if you're going to be a pharmacist, a doctor, a healthcare provider, whatever, you can think what you want about various medications. You can think and hate on them all you want and think they're the worst thing in the world. But when you're providing care to a patient, you can't throw your ideals into somebody else's care and be like, well, I don't like this, so therefore I'm not giving it to you. And I think we're starting to see a lot of that now, because I've seen people come into the ED going, I don't know what to do. I have this script for my medication, for a controlled medication, and they said they can't fill it because there's a law against filling an out-of-state prescription. So now they turn up in the ER trying to see if a doctor, see a doctor so they can write it. But Florida has very strict laws now on emergency rooms and what they can even do. This turned up the other day. We had somebody come in with some. I'm just because you got to be careful on how you talk about this stuff. But somebody came in. Basically, they've ignored some pain for a while, and they were trying to get something so they could enjoy their vacation. Well, Florida got very strict after the pill mill situation. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, for about 8 to 10 years, Florida was the home of narcotics, basically, narcotic pain medicine. You could come down here from pretty much anywhere in the U.S., and there was a pain clinic on every block, every corner, 50 feet from where you'd walk. And there were advertisements in the newspapers about it even. I mean, Florida used to not have a prescription drug monitoring program, meaning you could get a prescription from one of these pain clinics for, let's say, 130 Percocet 30s, and then go right next door and get another one to another pain clinic, and then go to, say, Walgreens and have one of them filled, and then the next minute go across the street to CVS and get the other one filled, and now you've got well over almost 300 pills of Percocet 30s filled at two separate pharmacies, and neither pharmacy has any clue of who filled what. And that went on for a long time. And things didn't change until there was starting to get a lot of pushback from, family members, lawmakers, because people were literally turning themselves into entrepreneurs. They were flying down here on airplanes and trains and automobiles. However they could get to Florida, they were getting down here. And they were returning home with hundreds, if not thousands, of prescription painkillers. Like OxyContin was a big one. And if you want to ever watch an interesting documentary, watch OxyContin Express. It's on YouTube. It's by, I think, the Vanguard Network or the Vanguard Company that did the production. It's really well done. But see, the problem with that is good people get wrapped up in that crap because now that the pendulum has swung so far the other way, even though now they're trying to undo it, the CDC or whomever, the FDA or whoever, put these ridiculous laws in place after this, they swung the pendulum too far one way. Well, now they're trying to say, oh, we didn't mean that. We don't want it to be that strictly regulated. Well, now everybody's terrified. And so now people that need certain medications because it helps them live a better life, now they can't get the medications they need because everybody's scared to death to prescribe them. And now you got pharmacists even not filling stuff because they're trying to uphold whatever beliefs they have. And it's a big mess right now. So we've had people come in even that have had broken bones, broken hips. And, some of the doctors are sending them home with like Toradol or strong ibuprofen. And I mean, it is what it is at this point. It's really bad. So don't, let's say, ignore a tooth that needs to be pulled. Decide to come on vacation and then say, oh, I'll take care of it after vacation. It gets real bad. I'll just go to the ER and get some pain medicine to get me through. There's a high likelihood you're not going to wind up with anything. You're going to leave with maybe an antibiotic and some ibuprofen. Doctors just aren't doing that here anymore. So whatever you need to do it in your hometown and take care of it there. We hear the stories over and over again. Well, where I live, you can go and get this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, that's great. I'm glad you get that where you live. But this isn't where you live. This is Florida. Florida has their own way of doing things now. And, no matter how much you stomp your feet, which I don't suggest that either, because then you get blacklisted if you do that, and you get your freaking mug put on every ER around as a pain in the ass. So, don't throw a temper tantrum either. And so I know I kind of got out of a tangent, but this is a legitimate thing. I've seen this over and over again. People come down here, they forget their meds at home, they don't refill them as they're supposed to. There's a million reasons why they don't have their medicine with them, and then they show up at the emergency room because urgent cares won't even take a look at you. They'll be like, no, you got to go to the ER. And then, sometimes these meds, like I said, if it's a controlled medication, a lot of docs are like, no, I'm not going to fill that. Sometimes you'll get an old school doc that, will do what they can, but most of them won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And anyway, even if they can prescribe a medication for pain, the most that Florida will allow an emergency room doctor to prescribe is a 3-day supply. So basically, what is that? 3 or 4 times a day. That's basically 18, I think, 12 to 18 pills. And depending on how many, every so many hours. The only way a person can get more than that is they have to see a specialist here in Florida. It has to be licensed by Florida, and there has to be a million different things written about why the patient needs, like let's say they need to be on Adderall for whatever reason. They have to write why. I mean, it's insane what they have to do now for this stuff. So again, if you take a controlled medication, please, please, please take care of it at home and make sure you have extras when you come on vacation. And especially with this shortage now going on in these ports, whatever you need to do, especially people on blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, thyroid medicine, all that stuff. We're going to have a talk later on about how I really think people could get off this medicine if they would just change some habits. Because you're telling me that the only way to change your thyroid levels, the only way to change your blood pressure, the only way to change your cholesterol is by pharmaceuticals? Give me a freaking break, man. What the hell did we do in the late 1800s, early 1900s? You know what I mean? Like, I get so tired of that mindset. Oh, the only way this is going to change, you have to take this medicine. Bull crap. But the problem is the longer people are on this medicine, the longer their body becomes accustomed to it. And then if they don't have it, you start getting negative side effects really fast. Yes, you'll recover from it, but you're going to feel lousy for a very long time, for at least a week or so, while your body's going through this adjustment. So whatever, especially people that are from the UK and overseas. I know we have a lot of friends that come and visit us from overseas. At least now, until the end of the year or however long this port strike is going on, make sure that you take care of your prescription needs in your hometown or your home cities. And just come down here with whatever you need and make sure you have a little bit extra in case you get held over because of weather or whatever reason. Okay? Because I'm telling you, it frustrates me to see people turning up in the emergency room because they forgot their meds, they ran out, the pharmacy won't fill a prescription from out of state. I mean, it's insane the stuff that goes on here. And like I said, I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't see this stuff firsthand. And so I got to thinking today that let's bring this to everybody's attention, because while everybody loves to do Disney and theme park stuff about rides and food and hotels, resorts, and all that, there's another important factor that goes into this, and that's most people's medications. The other thing is if you're traveling, make sure that's the first thing that goes in your bag, and make sure you freaking don't put it in your damn suitcase. It's going to go under the plane. I cannot tell you how many people come in because their luggage got lost and their vital medications that they take every single day is in a suitcase, lost somewhere around the world or in the U.S. somewhere. People, put your meds in your carry-on. Make sure you have them on your person at all times. And the other one is, especially in Florida, and at any airport, but especially in Florida, keep your medications, especially if it's a controlled medication, keep it in the original bottles. Don't go traveling through airport security with a bunch of pain pills in a Ziploc bag. All right? TSA is going to pull that stuff out and they're going to throw it away. Even though you may have a valid prescription, you have to have it in the bottle, in the actual bottle with your name on it. You cannot put that stuff into Ziploc bags and try to go through airport security with it. It's not going to work. How do I know this? This turned up in the emergency room a while back, okay? And especially in the state of Florida, you don't want to get caught having, especially a controlled medication outside of the prescription bottle. That is a big-time no-no here. You can get into some serious trouble for that. And again, it goes all the way back to the pill mill situation that we had. And it wasn't just opiates. It was everything else going on too. I mean, benzodiazepines and Adderall and all that kind of that kind of medication was just being given out like it was candy. It was crazy around here. Like I said, you ever watch a documentary, OxyContin Express? It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. All about the Florida pill mills. But like I said, unfortunately, a lot of good people got wrapped up in that whole situation, and they're the ones that are paying for, everybody else's dumbass mistakes. And Florida has definitely made it very hard to obtain that medication now, which, is okay, but then it's also not good either, because then you get people suffering needlessly. So I hope this helps y'all out. Okay, I know it's a little different. No fancy videos tonight, no nothing like that. Just me talking to the microphone and the camera. But I hope that this really gives you all some good advice. Okay? So when you come down, make sure you got all your affairs taken care of, and make sure you got plenty of medication with whatever it is you take. So that way you don't have to try to roll the dice here in Florida and be like, well, are they going to have it or not? Because I'm telling you, again, this port strike, even if you're allowed, you get a doctor to write you a script for whatever it is you need, there's a very good chance pharmacies may not have it if this keeps going on and on. And what worries me is if people start running out of their medications, guess where they're going to start turning up? In the emergency rooms. And the emergency rooms can ill afford to have a major surge of people because we're already getting absolutely bombarded by everything under the sun right now. So this is a very tense moment. So if you need to regulate your blood pressure, you don't have your meds, you're going to feel a little odd for a while, but you can do things. You can, make sure you're getting some exercise. Make sure you're drinking your body weight and fluid ounces of water every day. Make sure you're eating good, whole foods, anything colored, vegetables, fruits, that kind of thing. And, you can use things like black garlic. There's a supplement called quercetin. There is, there's fish oil. There's vitamin D3. There's, again, good exercise. The biggest thing is hydration, though. Hydration will help blood pressure more than anything. But, you can naturally lower it. But the thing is the longer a person's been on blood pressure meds, they can come off of it, but they have to be weaned off because otherwise your body will basically go into a hissy fit. So yeah, make sure you've got all of your stuff in order. All right, and anybody on medications, make sure you're getting with your doctors and make sure you got plenty of supply for a while because this thing could get very scary if it goes longer than a week. All right, let's do some quick comments and then we'll wrap this up. All right, this came from Neil Hudson again. Neil's been great with commenting on my stuff. I really appreciate it. Basically was talking about the video I did when I went back home last summer and they had that cutaway, the passenger playing with the ashtrays. That was pretty amazing. And he's talking about mom and dad lighting up the cigarettes after they take off. You imagine, man, smoking on an airplane. It's hard to imagine. Aviation fluid and naked flames, what could go wrong? Yeah, who knows? And, you got to think they're pumping the passenger compartment full of compressed air. That's all pressurized air, so geez, what's the worst that could happen? It says, I've been ill for a couple of days, been watching your vlogs to cheer myself up. I hope it's helping. Getting the temperature down, so feeling a little better. And then it asked about copyrights. That's definitely something I need to think about because as the channel grows in that, we really need to start thinking about protecting the videos and the vlogs. So I'll let you know on that because I gotta think really hard on that one because that's a good idea. We got to protect our work. And then for your, as far as feeling better, if the temperature keeps going up, don't worry too much. What that is if your fever's coming back, it just means your body's not done with the virus. I think what's happened is we've gone after the fever. We made the fever out to be the bad guy now, and it's not. The fever is actually your ally in getting better. Viruses don't like things above 98.6 degrees. So when the body cranks the fever up, the virus tends to hightail it on out. But then when we artificially suppress the temperature with ibuprofen or Tylenol, we feel better. But then the virus is like, hell yeah, man, I got a little time to play. And so Then when that medicine wears off, the fever's got to come back. So just use it sparingly, because otherwise you'll drag your illness out for a long time. There's another supplement called quercetin you can use. I think it's QUERCITIN or something like that. If you type in quercetin in Amazon, you can get that. It's a good, it's an immune booster. It helps a lot when you don't feel good. It's not a magic bean or anything. It's not going to like miraculously cure anything. But what it does is it helps your immune system out. It gives it some, as we'd call in the fire service, some mutual aid. And it does help you turn the corner a little quicker. You know, basically you take 1,000 milligrams of it for 7 days while you're not feeling good. And then when you start feeling better, you take 500 for 7 days, and then you put it in the cabinet for when you need it again. So I hope that helps. I hope you feel better, sir. And then we got one more here. This one's interesting. So Rock, Paper, Scissors 13 says, hey, man, inquiring minds want to know why so many vets, both active and retired, are going to vote for the neon orange testicular tumor. Looking forward to your response. This is from my having some late night fun watching Stolen Valor Insanity. You know, honestly, why I think so many vets are going to vote, and active and retired, because I really think people have about had enough of the nonsense. You know, I don't agree with a lot of stuff Trump does. I think his biggest enemy is himself sometimes. If he would just learn to shut up and listen, he would do so much better. But he gets that ego of his going, and he just, sometimes his mouth starts running off. And it's like, God dang it, Trump, shut up. You were doing so well. Close your mouth. You know, but you gotta, I mean, most people got to agree that in 2016 to 2020, we were all doing really well. I mean, I know I had a lot more money in my pocket, and I was making a whole lot less than I was now, you know. But as far as the vets and the active and military, he's a man of the people. You know, his years that he served as president, he was everywhere supporting the troops. You know, he always was making time to see the troops, and the troops loved him. Everybody loved him. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent, people loved him, man. He was, like I said, he was a man of the people. And just look at him now. He's showing up he was at the Georgia-Alabama game. People went crazy. You know how heartwarming it is to hear a stadium of, 80,000 people plus chanting USA and cheering a president? I think it's just because everybody is so tired of the constant drumbeat that we've had to deal with for the last 4 years. And you know what? Was I happy? For me, you know, I'm not a veteran, but, you know, I'm a firefighter and all that. So I guess I'm kind of in that same situation. But, you know, even when Biden and Harris won the election, I wasn't happy about it. But I'm like, okay, well, we're going to have 4 years of this. Let's give it a chance. Let's see what happens. And it hasn't been good, you know. I think what people are tired of, especially the vets, is just like the whole thing, the way they handle press conferences and that. They just turn their backs and walk away on people. You know, where Trump comes out there and he just talks to people. He'll sit there and answer questions for a couple hours. You know, Biden and Harris, they ask him stuff like, more recently, these storms that hit Appalachia, however you want to pronounce it, they just walked away. Oh, I spent 2 hours on the phone the other day. I mean, come on, man. And then they send those people $750 checks. Meanwhile, they just wrote a check for $8 billion to Ukraine, not but a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. You know, people are just tired of getting effed around. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you. You know, I am willing to look at things equally on both sides. I really am, because I'm always like, all right, I like this guy here, but what's this one over here got to offer me? What are they going to do? And they're really, I'm sorry, but Harris, is the last 4 years, you got to ask, what has she done? You know, and she received no votes. That's the other thing I think people are concerned about. She received no votes. Biden at least got he got voted in to be the next presidential candidate. He got 11 million votes. She received nothing. And they just inserted her. And all of a sudden she's pay attention to her now. So I just think, I know it's long-winded, but I think people are just tired of getting screwed around, especially our vets. They're tired of getting fucked over. and they're going to go with Trump. That's why they're going to go with him, because they don't like the options that the other people are giving us. They don't like Harrison Walz. I mean, you say what you want, like, what are they going to bring to us? I'm not sure, because they haven't said. Meanwhile, you got Trump out there, and you can agree or disagree with it, but he's been saying, hey, we're not going to tax overtime. We're not going to tax, tips and all that kind of stuff. Is that realistic? Who knows, but it's sure like the sound of it. I'd love to not have my overtime tax. That'd be amazing. That'd be incredible. So it's just he's throwing ideas out there of trying to figure out how to get more money into people's pockets. And the other two are turning their backs on the American people. And so, yeah, that's why I think a lot of the vets and everybody's going to vote for Mr. Trump this time. I think. We'll see what happens. A couple weeks, we'll know an answer. So thank you all very much. Appreciate the comments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll be back in the parks. Have a good night, everybody. Have any questions on what we talked about today with the medicines and all that, just feel free to send me a message in the comments, and we'll either, if it's short, I can write back to you, but if it's going to require a response like this, I'll answer you on a vlog like this. So have a good night, everybody. It's been the truth, and it's been actual. I hope it's been mighty satisfactual. See ya.